Hi everyone, it's the weekend of the local wargaming club's show this weekend, and thought I'd go along and cheer myself up with a little bit of retail therapy. So being a bit naughty and spent money I can't afford on figures I probably won't get around to painting, but anyway, I thought I would go with the intention of picking up anything related to Darkest Africa gaming and specifically for use in Congo. So everything I bought was related to that theme. A couple of things that I hoped would be there that weren't was I was going to get some of the Nguni cattle from Warlord, but I just couldn't find them. They had quite an extensive stand, but I couldn't find those, so gave up on that. And Bicorn were there, and I was intending, it's not so much to do with Darkest Africa, but colonial gaming. I thought I might pick up a few of the connoisseur figures, but they didn't have the ones I was after. So they suggested I order them online, but I was going for kind of opportunistic purchases today, so missed out on that. But anyway, I found this set of rules and an set of army lists on the bring and buy. So not Congo related, but useful kind of material. So an alternative set of rules, and this image in particular caught my eye because I'm currently adding to my Maasai army, so it'll be useful for a little bit of historical background and so on, and potentially another set of rules that I could use with my figures. This is the second edition of this set of rules by Chris Pears. I think originally he wrote them and published them in Wargames Illustrated back in the late 1990s, and this is a second edition. Marketed, I noticed it's an American price there. The original price is in dollars, and I know a few people do come over from America to attend the show here in Plymouth, so maybe it was one of those bought them. But yeah, there's another set of rules that North Star now do called I don't know, something like In the Dark of Africa or something like that. So this is kind of in between set of rules. You can probably tell from the way I'm stumbling over them that I'm not too interested in actually playing them, but as I say, they are a possible alternative, and some extra bits of historical detail, because Chris Pears is quite well studied and so on, knows what he's talking about. Okay, so I thought I would look for some tents, sort of for camps and things like that. And Charlie Foxtrot were there, and I didn't realise, but they actually retail a lot of the Debris of War's terrain. And I thought someone had told me that Debris of War had gone out of business, but they haven't. They're still around, he assures me. Still doing well. So I picked up these 5 items, which are a 19th century command tent. So more of a kind of, I don't know, military theme maybe, but that would do perfectly well for a large tent, for a kind of big expedition or something like that. And then some smaller ridge tents. These are more the kind of things that people would have with them on a long distance expedition, sort of easily packed away at night and carried by a bearer to the next campsite. So these were the ones that I was most keen to get hold of. And then I thought I might as well go the whole hog, and I purchased all the kind of barrels and different size crates and things. Far more than I'll actually need, but they'll make useful kind of scenic items to, you know, sort of dot around campsites and so on. So quite pleased to get hold of those. And then later on, at Colonel Bill's, had his stand there. I never understand why, you know, good on him for coming all the way down to Plymouth when he's based in Yorkshire, but it's the same weekend as Vaplitac, and he always comes, you know, he never attends Vaplitac, he always comes down to, you know, which is the show, big show in York, he always comes down to the one in Plymouth, so it's brilliant that he does. But anyway, on his stand I found some more tents that were suitable for the game of Congo. So one large bell tent. This one's a bit more of a kind of permanent, I suppose you could have it just with the top half on the ground, but it's got a kind of raised section, so it looks a bit more of a kind of permanent tent rather than something that you pack up and move from one night to another. And two small bell tents. So I think I've got enough tents now. I have got a couple of tents, but there's a particular scenario in Congo that requires 3, and I've only got 2. But then, by sheer chance, on Colonel Bill's stand as well, he was selling off some of these Wargames Foundry Darkest Africa Livestock. So I've already painted up 3 of these cattle. The heads are in there as well, but I think you need 4. I think there's a scenario where you need 4, or the original pack comes with 4, that's right. And whilst I've got the head, I haven't got the body for the 4th one, so there's another 2 in there, so that'll give me 5. There's some kind of mule and 3 goats, so they're all perfect for dotting around an African village or part of a column on the march, taking their food on the hoof with them. So that was those, and finally there was a company there which you may have heard of, called Ironclad Miniatures, come up from Barry in South Glamorgan, and they actually do a small range of Darkest Africa figures, and they're a little bit more fanciful, deliberately kind of Pulp Fiction style kind of things rather than true to any kind of historical tribe, but or anything, or characters. But I mean, for instance, they do a Corzan and a Jane, which is quite clearly meant to represent Tarzan and Jane. I didn't bother to get those, but some of these figures I thought were rather nice. There's a female explorer here that they call Lady Pilkington, so she'll make another useful addition to the White Men's Expedition faction. There's another explorer type character here who is so new that he's not actually even on their list of figures, but quite an interesting figure. Nice mustachioed face. They had painted examples, and they all paint up really well. They had some nicely painted figures on their stand. There is a witch doctor. Yeah, they didn't actually have the witch doctor with them, but they said that they didn't have there's a female witch doctor here, have to give them a ring, I think, tomorrow, because they're going to send the figure on to me. So there's a female witch doctor, and there's a female bearer. And then the ones that I really liked are the pack of 4 female warriors that have got masks, and the masks were painted up really nicely. So 4 of them have blowpipes. Now, blowpipes, I don't think really are a kind of an African feature. You'd expect to see blowpipes more in South America, I'm sure. But these struck me as being, I mean, they're quite small figures, so they struck me as being useful as additional pygmies, especially as the pygmies have poisoned arrows, so you can imagine them blowing poison darts. I'm quite pleased with those. Oh, I think I've shown, yeah. Oh no, yeah, there's two with the blowpipes extended there, but they're different figures. And there's also 4 masked female warriors with spears and shields. So again, I mean, I'm looking at those thinking, because they're quite small, they'll do as pygmies. And I'm kind of, my painting regime has kind of broken down a little bit at the moment, because I try and rotate through different projects, but at the moment I'm just concentrating on Congo because I'm finding that really enjoyable, kind of absorbing thing to do. So maybe I'll get around to painting these quite quickly. At the moment I'm trying to complete all my unpainted Maasai figures. I think I told you that at the beginning. So anyway, there we are. Just thought I'd give you an update on what I've been spending my money on. Thanks very much for watching, everyone. See you later.